Well, welcome back to 101 East, where this week we're looking at the impact of mercury poisoning across Asia. To discuss the issue, I'm joined in Jakarta by Indonesia's Environment Minister, Rahmat Witola, and from Manila, Richard Gutierrez, Executive Director of the Environment Group Ban Toxics. Gentlemen, thank you both for talking to us. And Richard, let me ask you, first of all, how significant is the problem with mercury right now?
The problem of mercury is pretty widespread, and it's pretty serious. You know, it's serious in fact that the global community just this February of this past February has begun to take concrete international steps towards addressing the problem of mercury by agreeing to move towards a legally binding treaty on negotiating towards a legally binding treaty on mercury.
In Asia, where are the problems and how great are they? Is Asia better or worse than the rest of the world?
The problem of mercury in Asia, I mean, if we look at the artisanal small-scale gold mining in Asia, based on the studies conducted by the United Nations Environment Program, it's isolated primarily in Indonesia and the Philippines. Of course, there are other pockets somewhere else, but main countries that have been identified has been both Indonesia and the Philippines.
Minister, Indonesia, a huge country, a very large number of people, and it would appear a very large number of individuals out there looking for gold and using mercury. Now, I know the country has banned the use of mercury, but how effective have you been in stopping its use?
Well, we don't have clear statistics about that. We try to ban it, and we try to put a stop on the sale of the mercury and the use of the illegal miners to use it as a tool to extract gold from the mines.
Do you not have...
Well, we are working very hard, but it is hard doing.
Do you not have statistics simply because they are hard to collect, or because you don't think it's a particularly serious problem that you need to devote resources to?
Well, I think it is very serious. That is a matter of life and death to us. But if you have been in Indonesia, it's very hard to move from one place to another, and it is very hard to stop perpetrators who are being paid by the gold traders to do things like that. So we are very serious about it. That is why the ministry banned the substance.
But beyond the ban, what else are you doing to try and ensure that the ban is actually effectively policed, is actually...
Well, we police the sites, and we find them, we chase them away. And if there is no alternative, maybe we can collect them so it is processed together in a more environment-friendly manner, because we cannot take away any livelihood that people are doing that.
Richard, is that enough? Are they doing enough?
The problem with mercury is that there's no silver bullet. You know, there's no silver bullet out there that can solve this the small-scale mining usage of mercury. And installing a ban on mercury is clearly needed, and also the implementation part as well. But one thing that we need to understand is that this is not simply an Indonesian problem. It's really a global problem. It's a problem here in Southeast Asia. It's a problem for everyone in the globe. And the reason for this is clear. For instance, you know, in Indonesia, Indonesia does not generate mercury. You do not, I believe, you don't have a mercury mine coming out of Indonesia that feeds directly into the miners. Most of this mercury is coming in from other sources outside of Indonesia. So you have a situation where literally you can see that Indonesia can be easily overwhelmed. You know,
right.
Just the size of the country and you know the number of ports.
We understand the scale of the problem is huge and that there is no silver bullet. However, having said that, the question I'm asking you is, do you think that in the Philippines and in Indonesia, where you've already said the problem is greatest, there exists enough will to at least really take the problem on head on?
Well, I think it's a combination. What's needed is a combination of strong political will, and also I think we need to. What's needed is sort of a different approach towards approaching the problem. If you approach it simply from a regulatory standpoint, it's not going to work. And I think market incentives that push alternatives towards the miners, making mercury-free gold, for instance, an attractive and more highly rewarding product. Those are the sort of things that we need on the ground.
All right.
And you know, if we approach the problem from a traditional way of just simply regulating, it's not going to work very well.
Minister, let me just ask you, I mean, we realize that clearly there are an enormous number of hurdles, geographic, cultural, monetary, to actually solving this problem. But I just want to know, where does the problem rate in your scale of priorities? I mean, is there the kind of will and desire to deal with this problem?
Yes, we are really serious. We have prosecuted a big gold mine, so we're not afraid of prosecuting anyone. There's a multi-billion-dollar company that we shoot and we won. So it is not a matter of will of anxiety. But I would appreciate what Richard has been saying, since Indonesia and Philippines are the biggest places where they mine the gold. So, but we see that the gold is traded not in here, they trade elsewhere in our neighbors. Maybe I would appeal to our neighbors who are the gold traders to stop trading on gold, maybe our gold, at the expense of our lives. I wouldn't mention the country because it is now been problematic in that country. If you want to have gold, you go to that country, and we know that there's no gold mines there. So obviously they have been importing the gold, the Mercury into Indonesia and extracting the gold.
What about Richard's suggestion that you create a category of gold, mercury-free gold, that would actually maybe differentiate between good gold and bad gold, if we can call it that?
Well, I think we have banned it, but we have not banned the gold mining. They can use other methods, like not amalgamating with the cyanides, which is easier to control, and it's not exposed to the local population, so it is not widespread. But we cannot stop the local people who are being probably given some few dollars to mine,
right,
from trying to make a living. We try to make an alternative for that. If you tell us $20 a week, I think we can supply $20 a week for those miners. It is a matter of time.
Richard,
that we do that.
The local people that the minister mentions, we saw on that film, one of them said, "I had no idea that mercury is bad for me." Is the level of education an issue here? Should more be done to let people understand what risk they are taking?
Definitely, yes. That's one of the biggest challenges facing, I mean, NGOs and government alike. Many of these miners are using it because of lack of awareness. You have to understand as well the cultural context in which they're using this. The mercury usage has been here for close to 1,000 years. So the challenge before us is to re-educate and remove this habituation, so to speak. We have to reverse that totally. So education, reaching, getting across to these communities is one priority. And one of the ways that we've seen that's effective of doing this, instead of outsiders or government coming in and telling them, you got to do this, this is wrong, this is that bad. We need to cultivate local leaders. We need to touch and get in touch with the community, at the heart of the community, local leaders who can introduce the alternatives.
Minister, what sort of efforts is Indonesia doing in that regard? Education, introducing local leaders who can guide?
Yes, we are working with the NGOs, with the Jatam lady. I think I recognize Maimuna from her town. We are empowering them and giving them all the facilities they can do, because we are short-handed. The NGOs, they can multiply themselves, so we give them facilities to educate the people, because the people have to be educated face-to-face. Some of them are illiterate, so we cannot touch them by leaflets or whatever.
Very quickly, Minister, do you think that you can make significant inroads quickly, or is this going to be a very long-term effort?
No, well, it's been here for years and years. We can try. I think one of the more certain way to do it is give them alternative employment.
Okay.
And that is what we're trying to do. And at the same time, we are going to ban the mercury trade.
And Richard, final word to you. You mentioned earlier on there has been this global initiative, meetings recently to try and generate some kind of global standards to police this and to battle this. How effective do you think they'll be? Do you have any faith that the world has got enough commitment to getting rid of this problem?
Oh yes, I think mercury is a solvable problem. I just only don't think that I believe that. Simply because we cannot afford not to act. Mercury will, as your film showed, it's polluting our major protein source, which is fish. And if we sit here and do nothing, we're going to be depleting or depriving future generations of the cultural right, to eat fish. And I think, and the global treaty is a clear step forward in that. And one way, and the beauty of this approach is that we can control the supply of mercury so it doesn't trickle down to the miners. And then if we have the Indonesian government, the Philippine government, all national governments addressing the mercury, the small-scale mining problem, then we're able to address the demand side as well.
And
so it's a supply and demand side approach.
And there we will have to leave it. Gentlemen, thank you both very much indeed for talking to us today. And that's all we have time for on this edition of 101 East. Until next time, bye-bye.